The Battle of Saipan, fought from June 15 to July 9, 1944, was one of the most critical and brutal battles of the Pacific Theater during World War II. Part of the larger Mariana Islands campaign, Saipan was a strategic turning point. Capturing it brought the Japanese homeland within range of American B-29 Superfortress bombers, setting the stage for the final phase of the war. For the United States, the victory at Saipan was a vital step toward defeating Japan. For the Japanese Empire, the loss marked the beginning of the end. Why Saipan mattered. Located roughly 1,500 miles south of Tokyo, Saipan was part of the Japanese-mandated Mariana Islands. Its capture would provide the Allies with a forward base to launch bombing raids directly on Japan's industrial heartland. It was also a blow to Japanese prestige, as Saipan was considered part of the Japanese inner defense perimeter, territory that was not supposed to fall into enemy hands. The Imperial Japanese Army was determined to hold the island at all costs, and the United States knew the battle would be fierce. The invasion begins, June 15, 1944. At dawn on June 15, over 8,000 U.S. Marines of the 2nd and 4th Marine Divisions landed on the western beaches of Saipan under the cover of intense naval and aerial bombardment. The Japanese defenders, numbering around 30,000 troops, had dug into caves, cliffs, and fortified bunkers across the island's rugged terrain. From the beginning, the fighting was savage. Japanese soldiers launched suicide charges, snipers operated from hidden positions, and artillery pounded the landing zones. The Marines faced fanatical resistance with every inch of ground gained. Bloody combat and brutal terrain. Over the following weeks, American forces, including the 27th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army, fought a grinding campaign through sugar cane fields, volcanic hills, and jagged cliffs. The Japanese defenders used the terrain to their advantage, ambushing troops from caves and tunnels, forcing the Americans into costly close-quarter combat. One of the most notorious episodes was the battle for Mount Tapachau, the island's highest peak. It offered a commanding view of Saipan and was fiercely defended. After days of intense fighting, U.S. forces finally secured it, gaining a crucial tactical advantage. Civilians caught in the crossfire. Saipan was home to a large civilian population of Japanese and native Chamorro people. Tragically, the Japanese military fed civilians propaganda that the Americans would torture and kill them if captured. As the battle neared its end, many civilians, terrified and misled, committed mass suicides, including entire families by jumping from the cliffs at Marpi Point, later known as Suicide Cliff and Banzai Cliff. This remains one of the most heartbreaking chapters of the war, illustrating the depth of Japan's militaristic indoctrination and the human cost of total war. The largest Banzai charge. On July 7, 1944, facing defeat, Japanese Commander Lieutenant General Yoshitsugu Saito ordered one final, desperate assault. In what became the largest Banzai charge of the Pacific War, an estimated 3,000 to 4,000 Japanese troops, including wounded soldiers and armed civilians, launched a mass suicidal attack against American lines. The attack was chaotic and savage, overwhelming several American units and resulting in some of the fiercest hand-to-hand fighting of the campaign. Though the charge ultimately failed, it caused significant U.S. casualties. 2 days later, on July 9, Saipan was declared secure. The aftermath and significance. The cost of victory was steep. The U.S. suffered over 14,000 casualties, including nearly 3,000 killed. Japanese military losses were even greater. Nearly all 30,000 defenders died, with only a few hundred surrendering. Civilian deaths were estimated at thousands, many by suicide. But the strategic gains were enormous. Saipan's airfields were soon used to launch B-29 bomber raids on Japan, bringing destruction to Tokyo and other cities. The psychological impact on Japan was profound. The fall of Saipan prompted the resignation of Prime Minister Hideki Tojo, signaling political instability in Tokyo. The loss of the Marianas exposed Japan's vulnerability, making a full-scale American invasion increasingly inevitable. Legacy of the battle. Today, Saipan stands as a powerful symbol of sacrifice and turning tides. The battle exemplified the intensity of Pacific warfare, characterized by fanatical resistance, high casualties, and tragic civilian suffering. The cliffs of Marpi Point now serve as a memorial, not only to the soldiers who fought and died there but to the civilians who became victims of war and propaganda. Museums and memorials commemorate the brutal campaign and its impact on the people of Saipan. Conclusion. The Battle of Saipan was more than a military victory, it was a strategic and psychological blow to the Japanese Empire and a step closer to the war's end. It exposed the vulnerability of Japan's inner defenses and gave the Allies a launching pad to strike the Japanese mainland. It also highlighted the tragic human cost of total war. The bitter lessons of Saipan would echo throughout the remaining Pacific campaigns, as both sides braced for the final battles of World War II.